So welcome everybody this is our number 279th Interfaith meeting. We meet every Thursday night, and we hear from people of every religion and even atheists. And sometimes they talk about religion, sometimes they talk about what they do. But the common factor is that we're all here to learn. We can't expect to solve great theological problems in a Zoom meeting of an hour and a half. So we try to remember this quote, which is, "Whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity, where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending peoples can coalesce." So unlike many interreligious or interfaith or even academic, we don't start with differences and try to resolve them. We learn from each other's differences, but we also look for points of unity. That's a much more effective way to understand each other. So if you could have your commonly known name on screen. We begin with music and readings, and then presentation, and then you can use the reaction button to raise your hand. But otherwise, if you could be muted, that will be very helpful. As I said, we're here to learn from each other. We've assigned readers, and before we begin, by the way, our topic tonight, I'll introduce our speaker properly later on, but Mr. Riaz Peter will be talking about meditation is a key, integrating mind, body, and spirit. So very much looking forward to that. So let me take this opportunity to acknowledge and pay respect to past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia. And Jung and I are benefiting from the care, 60,000 years of care by the Gadigal and Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation in the Sydney area. And of course, Vicentha, I believe, is from the land of the Wongal people. And there are many Indigenous people, and we owe more than we realize. Not only they cared for the land, but they have a spiritual tradition and values which only now humanity is starting to realize. We need values where people care for each other more than things. So let's begin with music, and 7 short readings, and then we'll close with a piece of music in the native language of one of the native languages of Malaysia, which was recommended to me by Usha, and I got permission to play it, so that will lead nicely into the talk which follows.
Blessed is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified, glorified, glorified. Yes, it is the spot, and the house, and the place, and the city, and the heart, and the mountain, and the refuge, and the cave, and the valley, and the land, and the sea, and the island, and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified, 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 and his praise glorified, 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 and his praise glorified, glorified.
Paula, nothing's coming through.
Glorified.
Was nobody hearing music there?
Not hearing it.
Yes, we all heard it.
Yes, I heard it too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Something with Richard's system.
All right. I think there's a few seconds of that song. Hang on.
Richard, check your volume, please.
But if one deals with objects of the sense, not loving and not hating, making them serve his free soul, which rests serenely, Lord, lo, such a man comes to tranquility. And out of that tranquility shall rise the end and healing of his earthly pains, since the will governed sets the soul at peace. Hindu writings.
She Almighty, the Zoroastrian goddess and divine manifestation of holy devotion, piety, and Mother Earth, will give us peaceful dwelling. She will give last life and strength. She, the beloved of good thought. Zoroastrian writings.
The fifth meditation is the meditation on serenity, in which thou risest above love and hate, tyranny and tyrandom, wealth and want, and regressed sin own fed with impartial calmness and perfect tranquility. Buddhist writing.
Therefore, O King, let my counsel be acceptable to you, and break off your sins by practicing righteousness, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, that there may be a lengthening of your tranquility.
Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair and the wearing of gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Christian writings.
When you turn away from them and the things they worship other than Allah, betake yourselves to the cave. Your Lord will shower you his mercies on you, and dispose of your affair toward comfort and ease. Islamic writings.
Blessed is the one who discovered the fragrance of inner meaning from the traces of this pen, through which movement the breezes of God are wafted over the entire creation, and through whose stillness the very essence of tranquility appeareth in the realm of being. Baha'i writing.
Jalwel de Tuhan, oh cukup segala ning suatu. Nonglo segala-gala Jalwel de Tuhan, oh cukup segalanya suatu. Nonglo segala-gala yo to memo hin bali enjen pun ente ngeho cukup geri Tuhan sesungguh nana deri de genam lek nana gebaran genam lek nana gebaran Jalwel de Tuhan, oh cukup segala sesuatu. Nonglo segala-gala Jalwel de Tuhan, oh cukup segala sesuatu. Nonglo segala-gala yo to memo in Bali encen pun ente geho cukup geri Tuhan sesungguh nana deri de genam nana gebaran genam lek nana gebaran
Welcome. Well, thank you to the readers first, and also thank you to Usha and the Malaysian friends for that beautiful music. And I'd like to now very much welcome our speaker, Mr. Peter Riaz. Mr. Riaz Peter, and Riaz is a clinical hypnotherapy and psychotherapy practitioner based in Brisbane. He works with people experiencing anxiety, stress, overwhelming, chronic pain, and other mind-body challenges, supporting them to calm the mind, settle the body, and reconnect with inner peace and resilience. As a member of the Baha'i Faith, Riaz has a deep interest in the relationship between meditation, spiritual growth, unity, and compassionate living. His work brings together practical mind-body approaches with a gentle focus on integrating mind, body, and spirit in everyday life. And Riaz will be talking about meditation is a key, integrating mind, body, and spirit. I think I need some integration, so please, Riaz, I'm looking forward to this.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the beautiful prayers. So when I was asked to speak on this, the theme I struggle with is how do you take such a vast topic and encapsulate it in a way that shows the shared truths amongst various traditions and faiths, as well as what the modern day world is embracing as meditation. Because when you take this topic and you look at it probably 30 or 40 years ago, meditation would be a topic a general society would go, oh, that's something for those yogis, for those Indians out there. And only in the last 10 to 15 years, this has become a very much talked about topic in the Western world. The Eastern world has been practicing meditation throughout the centuries and ages. And so I wanted to show first, let's look at what the world thinks or what society thinks about what meditation is. Then we're looking at where is it applied? How does it integrate with the mind, the body, the spirit? What does the faith, the Baha'i faith and various faiths speak about meditation? And also look at how are some tools that we can use and apply directly to ourselves to help us integrate this powerful faculty into our everyday lives and understand how the very awareness that meditation brings about a skill or an awareness of the thoughts, the minds, the bodies, the feelings, physical and both emotional, and how and when we use this faculty and hone in on this faculty and practice this faculty, it opens to us many tools for spiritual development and spiritual growth. So I'd like to begin with a very simple question. Why do people meditate? And when the research is showing, and let me just share the screen. Okay, is that clear?
That's good.
Okay. So why do we meditate? And the research is showing, based on research done from the US, that the overwhelming 72% of the population meditate for general wellness, while 60% just look to improve their overall health, improve their memory and focus. And underneath those numbers, there are many who are seeking relief from the modern ailments of our modern society, seeking relief from anxiety, coping with stress, and especially depression. And this number, when you look and Google the word anxiety, you see that rising and trending in Google, a trend that is rising beyond what was seen in the past. So what is meditation? And so there are many misconceptions here. So very quickly in this group here, let's just take 1 minute. What is your understanding of meditation? What is meditation to you? Just quickly shout out, unmute yourself, share, or write in the chat. What is meditation to you? I'm just curious.
Calming the mind or
Okay.
being quiet for some time.
Calming the mind. What else?
Relaxing and body and mind.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Concentrating on some topic maybe.
Mm-hmm. One more.
I think if I put this into like inquiries,
Mm-hmm.
I know that few children around 8 years old, the parents are Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
but then they started to sit up in the morning to do meditation.
Yes.
So with the children of the age of 6 or 7 or probably 7 or 8, general wellness, energy, focus, memory, relief, coping, depression got nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got up and did meditation, and the parents not following meditation, and they're not in an environment of meditation. So in that sort of phenomena, what's the explanation can happen to that little person?
Perfect question. And we'll cover that as we go through the
And that was a
topic.
real true story.
Can I add one more? And that's
Sure.
connecting to the people above or God, spirits in above or God.
So connecting to the divine or connecting
Divine.
to God. Yeah. Okay. So when we look at general when I ask, thank you for the comments. And also when you look at meditation in general, when you ask people out there in the public, what do you think meditation is? Many people answer it's emptying the mind or quieting the mind. Very few people go connecting with the divine, connecting with the spirit, a pathway to spiritual enlightenment. Many understand that meditation, from a very simple perspective, is emptying the mind. And researchers now who apply meditation to mental health and awareness use meditation more as bringing people back into the present moment. So they're starting to adopt the Buddhist teachings that the breath and meditation is bringing us into the present moment and just noticing thoughts, feelings, emotions that come up and observing them without any judgment, without critique, just observing, becoming the observer within. Meditation is also used as a stress management tool to help people cope better. And there's a very interesting research that was done about meditation and just silence or being alone in stillness. The question raised was, are people actually happy when left completely alone with their minds? And this was a fascinating research when I read it. It said, are people happy just being alone by themselves in stillness? And in this landmark study published by the Journal of Science, researchers took up hundreds of volunteers and placed them individually in rooms alone by themselves for 6 to 15 minutes. No phones, no books, no games, no computers, no DSs, no writing materials, just alone by themselves. And the instruction was very simple. Stay awake and entertain yourself with your thoughts. And the uncomfortable truth that was noticed that the vast majority found the experience highly unpleasant and struggle immensely to concentrate. Participants even rated doing mundane external activities much higher than simply thinking or being in silence with your thoughts. And prior to placing these individuals in these rooms, they also shocked these individuals with an electric shock. And many said, oh, I would pay money not to receive this shock. This shock is painful. And what they discovered in that room, they wanted to test the limits, and they gave the people in their room a choice. You can sit in silence or press a button to receive a mild, painful electric shock. And the truth was really shocking. Many chose pain over boredom. 67% of men, 25% of women chose the electric shock over sitting alone with their thoughts. And when you reflect on this, what starts to flow? This ability to sit in silence, to connect with the mind, and be in a comfortable place with the mind is proving to be a challenge for many. So why is it then so hard to sit still in silence? The mind is often like a noisy room. It's an anticipation machine. Our DNA is created for survival. And so the first thing the mind does is to look for problems, seek out problems. Like a soldier in the battlefield, scanning the field for where the next threat is. And so without choosing your thoughts, your feelings and emotions, the mind goes places. It ruminates on the past, worries about the present moment, and even catastrophizes at times the future. So, and the modern day world doesn't help. It bombards us with information, bombards us with stimulation. And so that ability to sit in silence, that skill to just be there, observing the thoughts, being calm with thoughts, is a skill that's fading away. Because like every skill, every tool, when we don't tune it, when we don't use it, that skill fades away. And so often people go into these questions. What if something goes wrong? I need to fix this now. You're not safe. So how does meditation help? Meditation helps us step back, to slow things down, to create this awareness that I can notice thoughts without becoming them. And you've probably often heard this mantra going, I'm not the mind, I'm not even the body. And by repeating this, what they've noticed is they started to train the mind to step back. Buddhist teachings offer a profound practice, the practice of observing the breath. Observing the breath by just sitting in stillness and slowing down the breath, just noticing everything down. Now, if you take a minute right now and just slow down your breath, slow that inhale in and slow that exhale even further. And if you choose to do it in through the nose and out through the mouth, just for the next 10 to 15 seconds, notice what happens. Short inhale and extended exhale. Often when we ruminate on the past, we go into depression. When we focus on the present moment, people often go into stressful states. And when they focus on the future, they flow into anxiety. And so by choosing our thoughts, slowing down the breath, we can pause many things. And here's a powerful teaching. The breath and the emotions, they're like two beautiful dance partners. Often notice when one moves, the other follows. When a person is about to be hit by a car or notice a very dangerous situation, what's the first thing that shifts? They go, the first thing is their breath. And as soon as the breath goes, notice what goes. The panic steps in. And that's part of our nervous system. When we face danger, when we face a sudden, whether it's emotional or physical danger, the first thing that shifts when it's shocking is the breath. And so the breath is almost, in a way, a portal or an insight to our spiritual states. The very practice of observing the breath gives us an awareness of where we are in that present moment. As an as practice, you could easily do this. Set your alarm to go off every hour on the hour with a ping. And every time you hear that bell, just sit back. Where's my breath? Where's my thoughts? And we make this into a very simple practice. We call it the ABC practice. Number one, always breathe calmly. Number two, always be choosing your thoughts, choosing your feelings, choosing your awareness, or you can even say always be connected to your highest self. And so meditation, when applied in this way, helps us turn the mirror of our heart to the highest self, where we focus on the spirit rather than focusing on the issues. And the key steps in here, choice. When we don't choose, the body chooses for us. The nervous system takes over because it's created to do one thing, survival. When we choose, we start to step back. When one reflects on the body and the emotions, a very magical, mystical interplay takes place. In the body, we have something called the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, in short, is your fight, flight, freeze response. That part of you that releases cortisol, epinephrines, norepinephrines, that increase blood flow, increase blood pressure, rapid heartbeat. That's one part of our nervous system. The other part of the nervous system is that rest, digest, and heal. And when we notice, when we're angry and frustrated and upset and hurt, notice what the body does. It gives you more cortisol. It increases cortisol levels. When we study people with high anxiety levels, one thing shows up very clearly in their blood tests, elevated levels of cortisol. So notice this beautiful interplay. How does the emotion manifest itself in the body? And how does the body in return reflect to the spirit how it feels? This divine interplay in this creation of the mind and body. And notice when you're happy and you're joyful and you're elated and you're in prayer, the breath is calm. The body is relaxed. The jaw muscles start to let go. The mind is calmer. The heart becomes more aware to the susceptibilities of the spirit. So this very awareness of the observation between the interplay between the body and the emotions, between the sympathetic nervous system and the emotions, when we start to understand this, we understand that there is a very powerful connection. And so Abdu'l-Baha, in one of his quotes in the tablets, this is quoted in the Star of the West, he said, the powers of the sympathetic nerve are neither entirely physical nor spiritual, but are between two systems. So there is a nerve in us that somehow connects both the spirit and the body. And its phenomena will be perfect when its spiritual and physical relations are normal. So when you look at that interplay between the mind and the spirit, the body and the spirit, when there is a balance, we create a homeostasis, so to speak. When the material world and the divine world are correlated, working together in harmony, when the hearts become heavenly and the aspirations grow pure and divine, perfect connection takes place. Then will it produce a perfect manifestation. Physical and spiritual disease will then receive absolute healing. And in Buddhist teachings, Buddhist philosophy, they mention that 80% of all disease is from inflammation. and inflammation is from stress. So when we calm the mind and calm the stress, many of our modern day ailments literally disappear. So anxiety isn't just something that is created in the mind. It's something that is also vibrates and resonates through the body. And often anxiety is something that happens not to us. It's actually a verb. Anxiety is often something that we do. And many people create anxiety. And some people are going, what are you saying? When you observe this phenomena of anxiety, often you have to run a certain thought process to create anxious feelings. Just as when you run a certain thought process, you create joyful feelings in the body. So when we start to become aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and when we start to become aware of how the body feels, whether the chest is tight or the breath is shallow, when we start to become aware of this mystical interplay between the mind and body, we start to understand that just by becoming aware of one or the other, I can start to choose and make a shift. When we're not aware of this, we're reacting to, I feel tense, I feel hurt, I feel pain. And then we start to look at medicating as a quick fix, when in fact, probably the most natural remedy to be is to step back, step into that meditative faculty, and awaken that light of awareness, that tool within, that observer within, and start to scan the mind, the body, and the spirit for signs of where we are in that moment. Very interesting research is being done recently in the last 5 to 10 years on the power of the vagus nerve and vibration. In many traditions, we all know the sound of Om, and monks chant this over and over and over. And when they do this, scientists observe something interesting. The vibration, when we chant the sound, moves the energy in different parts of the body. So if we look at this from the yogic perspective, they call it chakras or divine energy centers. So when we move certain sounds or vibrations through the body starts to vibrate differently. And interestingly, when we look at alawapa that Baha'is do 95 times a day, notice that sound. The next time you do your alawapa practice, observe this. Sit down in silence as you normally do. And instead of going alawapa, 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 that many people do and 95 times and tick the box, how about doing this? Go alawapa and deep breath in. Alawapa and alawapa on the out breath as a suggested practice to play with this. And notice the vibration. So if you just mute yourself right now and just say it out loud, just take a deep breath in and very slowly, alawapa. Breathing in, alawapa. And if you put it to a melody, alawapa. Notice where you feel the vibrations. Or when you hum. We have at our disposals tools to shift the mind, body, and spirit very quickly. The monks have been doing it for thousands of years. Science is now starting to catch up. The writings show to us, in fact, encourages to do this practice 95 times a day. So instead of just you saying it by sound, next time pray with the body, not just with the spirit. Pray with the body and feel feel into the vibrations of the Holy Word. Meditation, Abdu'l-Baha says, is a key for opening the doors of mystery. In that state, man abstracts himself from all outside objects. In that subjective mood, he is immersed in the ocean of spiritual life and can unfold the secrets of things in themselves. When we reflect on this, what are some of the things that we look at? What is the purpose of a key? A key opens doors. It is a portal. It opens a portals or doorways. In fact, when we look at deep researchers like Einstein, inventors like Nikola Tesla, some of them used to hold a ball in their hands and just think of a question or a deep calculation issue that they're trying to unfold. They would sit in their chair, hold the ball, and just go into a deep silent state and fall asleep. And when the ball falls down, they wake up, and then the answer pops into their mind. So that's one way to apply the faculty of meditation. How many of us have had a problem that we were dealing with before sleep, and we place that question to our spirit, and then we go to sleep, and when awakening, the answer pops into mind? Meditation gives us that glimpse into that portal of unlocking mysteries of not just the physical plane, but also of the spiritual. Abdu'l-Baha says, through the meditative faculty, governments can move smoothly. The complicated affairs of the world are resolved just by adapting this faculty. And one of the key tools of the meditative faculty is stillness. And we find this across all many faiths, that meditation requires us to be still, to connect with that divine from within, that God from within. Be still, the Bible says, be still and know that I am God within. And surely in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find comfort. And in the hidden words, the healer of all thine ills is remembrance of me. Forget it not. Make my love thy treasure, and cherish it even as thy very sight and life. When we use that faculty of reflection and meditation and turn it to the higher self, we tap into that susceptibilities of the power of the spirit, and we draw it into our daily lives. Across various traditions, we see this. Silence and prayer are two very profound topics that are intertwined and connected. When we pray, we turn towards God, and in the silence, we hear God. A two-way connection takes place. Across faiths, remembrance and breath, we see the similarities in Hindu tradition, in Buddhist tradition, that the prayer and breath and meditation are so intertwined, a bridge for connecting the mind, the body, and the spirit. In meditation, we learn to let go. We learn to quieten the thoughts, the sounds, the feelings, going into a quiet state of focus where we can let go. Meditation can be used to solve complex issues, and it can also be used as a tool to tap into the planes of mystery, unlocking portals of the unseen. Meditation requires us to connect with the heart. And so this is a very interesting question. When people start to learn to meditate, often it's a struggle. The first few weeks or months of meditation, they notice when they sit down, all sorts of things suddenly start to creep up. All sorts of feelings suddenly starts to come up. It's like the teacher in a classroom. The teacher suddenly goes quiet and the teacher asks a question. Okay, any questions? And everybody goes, pick me, pick me, pick me. All the students get so excited. And that's exactly what happens when we meditate. When we become so calm and quiet, the first thing that comes up are all the issues of the past that are unresolved. And whichever is stronger, if anger is an issue and that anger is strong, that surfaces very quickly. And so the first few months of practice of meditation in the traditional sense, where we calm everything down, a lot of the junk comes to the surface. And this is where we sit down, we observe, we notice, we feel. We feel where in the body is there tension, where in the body is the energy stuck or blocked. And just by sometimes observing, we can let this go. And as we go down, we will come to a few questions that you can apply in those meditative states to apply to self, to awaken that skill of making distinctions. What thoughts and feelings should I listen to? Which thoughts and feelings should I let go? In the Bhagavad Gita, there's this powerful metaphor of a lamp in a windless place. The spiritual light is already burning within you. However, fear, anger, anxiety, hurt, envy, they cause this light from within to flicker. Meditation is a powerful tool that protects that flame. It quietens that lower self. It moves us into states of detachment, steadies the mind. And the goal is to gently train the mind with each passing day. Meditation requires us also to take action. So Shoghi Effendi talks about prayer is of no use without meditation. And meditation must be centered on the writings. It's not just by sitting down, keeping silent, and being blank. We must concentrate on the teachings, concentrate on the implications and how they can be used. If we do not reflect on the writings we read, we are wasting our time. Meditation is of no use, he continues. The inspiration received through meditation is of a nature that no one can measure or determine. God can inspire into our minds things that we had no previous knowledge of, if he desires to do so. So meditation is of no use unless it's followed by action. Prayer and meditation are very important factors in deepening the spiritual life of the individual. And it must go with action through examples that are tangible in both internally and externally. Prayerful qualities must become social qualities: humility, compassion, and justice. When we reflect on the writings, thou art my lamp and my light is in thee, we put that set question to the spirit and we sit in that silence. Thou art my lamp and my light is in thee. For example, awaiting in that stillness for that light to break forth. Baha'u'llah says there is a sign from God in every phenomena. The sign of the intellect is contemplation, and the sign of contemplation is silence. Because it is impossible for a man to do two things at one time. He cannot both speak and meditate. It is an axiomatic fact that while you meditate, you are speaking with your own spirit. In that state of mind, you put certain questions to your spirit answers, the light breaks forth, and the reality is revealed. And this tool of asking questions requires practice. How often when working with individuals, they go, "What's wrong with me?" And they imagine putting certain questions like that to the spirit. What's wrong with me? And so, of course, what does the spirit do? He gives you all the answers of what's wrong with me. But instead, what's a better question? What will it take to learn to be more detached? What will it take to learn to let go? What will it take to learn to be more patient? The quality of the question defines the quality of the answer. And asking better questions is probably the most profound skill that we learn and apply when we're in meditative state. And think of the meditative faculty in that stillness and silence when you put in questions, like Google. If you go to Google and go, "What's wrong with me?" or "What's wrong with the world?" Guess what Google does? It gives every single fact what's wrong with the world. But when you ask, "What can I do to make this better?" the spirit starts to scan the spiritual and the material for answers. So the quality of your questions in that stillness and silence is key. Meditation also helps us to train the skill of discernment and apply certain questions or thoughts. For example, some of the distinctions we can learn just by awakening the awareness from within, or that observer from within. So I'm sure everybody here has watched Pinocchio. So remember in Pinocchio, whenever Pinocchio lied, his nose went wrong, right? And in Pinocchio, there's something called the Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket used to sit on Pinocchio's shoulder. And every time Pinocchio was about to tell a lie, Jiminy Cricket would go, "Pinocchio, don't go there, don't do that." So think of your observer from within when you meditate as your Jiminy Cricket. That every time you focus and you turn on this observer, you're starting to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And just by quieting the mind, quieting the thoughts, that observer from within becomes stronger. When we apply certain skills in meditation, when we apply that observer from within, certain skills start to become apparent. For example, how do you make the distinction between thoughts and feelings you listen to and thoughts and feelings you ignore? Because when you reflect on this, not all thoughts and feelings are useful. In fact, most of the time, not all thoughts and feelings are even valid or true. Think of this. I call Colin, and Colin doesn't answer me. And I'm going, did I say something to Colin? I must have said something to Colin. I must have hurt him. What did I say? Oh, he's probably very upset with me because it's 4 hours now. Hey, hasn't called me back. And notice I start to mind read and future where the mind goes. It goes to places. It takes over. And I go, I must have said something to Colin. He's probably very upset with me. And lo and behold, the next day, Colin calls me back. "Oh, sorry, Riaz, I dropped my phone in the water and I had to get it fixed." And all this time, what have I been running? I've been running this thought process that takes me down a deep black hole. Meditation, sitting and becoming skilled in just observing the thoughts, the feelings, and emotions helps us improve this skill between listening. What thoughts, is this thought valid? I called Colin, he's not calling me back. I must have hurt him. You go, nah, I didn't say anything wrong. Maybe something happened. Is this negative thought I'm focusing on, is it useful? Very, very unlikely that negative thoughts are useful. And then we start to apply this. What is a more useful feeling? What is a more useful thought? What is a more useful action that I can apply in this present moment? By learning to apply certain questions to our thoughts and feelings, asking those questions and sitting in silence and just reflecting on the day, which Baha'u'llah asks us to reflect on our daily lives, we create this mindset, if you like, or spiritual skill set of listening and fine-tuning and filtering thoughts and feelings that flow through our mind, because our mind bombards it with thoughts and feelings. And when we start to discern and filter, useful thought, useless thought, we just see it drifting by and we let it go. Because as soon as you focus on a thought and you give it power, give it emotion, give it strength, it's like you pick the seed out and you start to plant it in the soil of your heart. So what is the seed that you want to focus on? What is the seed that you want to cultivate? Meditation perhaps offers us a tool of observing these thoughts and feelings. Another powerful one is, how do you know if you're doing useful analysis or useless over-analysis? Apply the faculty of meditation. I'm having this issue. What should I do? Put that question to your spirit and sit back. Of course, you do the research, you do what you need to do, and ultimately, you apply this faculty to your life. Meditation helps us to discern what is probable and what is possible. It prevents us from future catastrophizing, going into that doom of the gloom of the future, because when you are in the present moment, when you slow down that breath, the future hasn't happened yet. The present moment feels safe, and the mind starts to slow down. The chemical starts to shift. We see what's possible rather than what's probable. That plane flying 10,000 feet in the air, is it possible that it might crash into your house? Yeah, it's a possibility. But what is the probability? 1 in a million. So this ability to apply this tool in our daily reflection helps us to deepen our spiritual capacities. So, okay, I'm just looking at time. How are we for time, Colin?
As long as you like, but
Oh.
we finish in 25 minutes, so we should leave time for a few questions.
Okay, so I'll just take 5 more minutes, okay? And some of the other areas we can apply this questioning to. Meditation helps us understand between what we control and what we let go when we reflect on what's happening in the day. Oh God, this is beyond my capacity, beyond my power. We let go. Oh God, this is within my power. I can do something about it. Let me take action. Guide me. Okay, I can go on and on into this. Okay, so I think I'll go into questions and
One second, there's some background.
oh, okay.
I found it.
Okay, got it. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Riaz. I'm going to remove the spotlight so I can
Yeah,
see
sure.
all the hands up. Where have you gone, Riaz?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, look, that was excellent, and you helped answer one of my questions about Buddhism. They talk about having an empty your mind in meditation, and I thought, well, hang on, that's going to create a vacuum, and it's going to get filled up with something. Anyway, you gave us some beautiful thoughts about being immersed in the ocean of the spiritual life. That's why we empty our mind. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So please, anyone with a question, here we go. Just raise your hand like Ahmed did. Ahmed.
Yeah, a lot of often, for example, you were talking and I was listening, but then I found myself going through my mind with something else. How do you control that? How do you try to make sure when you are on some action, some thoughts or some reading, your mind does not go somewhere else?
Okay. So you're not alone, Ahmad. Okay. So and this is common
I know
with
everybody does that.
some people have fine-tuned this skill of really focusing. And one act of meditation or practice of meditation people do is light a candle and just sit there for 10 to 15 minutes, just noticing the candle. And when their thoughts wander, which it will, with so much love and gentleness and kindness, we bring back that focus to that present moment, to that lamp. So in the same way, we can use this with reading. So your reading can be like that lamp or that light. As you're reading, you're focused. And then halfway through, you'll notice you suddenly drift away. Oh, the shopping needs to be done over there, right? So when you're aware of that, the goal here is to bring it back, not with frustration or anger, because when we are frustrated or angry with that, we give it power. So the goal is to apply so much love. It's like Tai Chi. You're constantly shifting energy from one form. When it pushes, you pull it back. And pulling it back with stillness, with calmness. And that's the practice. And reading is the best. Or audiobook is the other one. Listening to the audiobook, you start to listen and then the thoughts will go back. So just bring it back to the present moment. There is unfortunately no, if anybody finds a pill for that, let me know. Perfect focus and attention.
I have to do a confession. Too often I read the long obligatory prayer, and sometimes to the end, I then realize that, oh, my thoughts were somewhere else. So, which is very sad and bad. You feel download. I like to try so that when I'm reading the obligatory prayer, my thoughts do not go anywhere.
Well, in the Tabla Ahmad, it said, those who chant it with absolute sincerity,
yeah,
God will grant you 1,000 odd years, right? So there's the practice worth striving for.
Riaz, we have a question from in the chat from STC. Apart from meditating on the Baha'i writings, how do we know we are not vain imagination?
Good question. When you find the answer, let me know. How would you know if something is vain or not vain? Well, apply a filter to it. Ask yourself, does this help me? Is this relevant? Is this useful? So in psychotherapy, there is a simple tool that we use. It's called, instead of voodoo, VODOO, it's VUMU, VUMU. Is this thought valid? Is it useful? What is a more useful thought or action or feeling right now? So VUMU, is it valid? Is it useful? And if it is, then it's probably not a vain imagining. What is a more useful thought? But yes, I understand it's not easy to, I don't know the answer to this. How do I know if an answer that comes to mind in meditation is the right answer? And saying that, how often have we had this? We're about to leave the house and you hear this voice, that intuitive voice from within said, take your key, or take the key that you, and this is for another house, and you go, it's okay, and you step out of the house and you drive there, and suddenly you get called, hey, would you mind bringing that key to that? You go, that voice was there, but you missed it. So our goal is to learn to be still and quiet enough that we start to understand and hear that voices that guide us, that intuitive voice. So, I'm not sure if I answered the question.
You did for me, Ria.
Baha'u'llah says that for superstitions, you use, the reasoning of the mind, and that way you can come to the correct answer.
So STC said, yes, it's helpful. He says, thanks, Riaz. All right, Vasantha, you're next.
Sorry, I lost the thing, and we don't have electricity or internet at home. I'm on the phone. I missed a section of your presentation, but my question is, you mentioned, I just came in when you was talking about the chakras and all.
Mm-hmm.
How does the meditation help to balance or for the energy part of it? You mentioned something about energy and.
Okay. So my understanding of the yogic teachings of chakra is chakras are different energy centers in the body. Yeah. So, and in Chinese medicine, they also talk about this, which is very applicable to the Chinese chakra, that when you're angry, when you're anxious, it sits in the gut, right? What does Baha'u'llah say? Baha'u'llah says anger burns the liver. So that's an energy center. Jealousy consumes the body. So there is an interplay between emotions and the body. So the body reflects certain emotions. And when we meditate on a certain energy center, just start to reflect on how you feel in that part of your body. And this can be a whole different topic of how do you connect with that pain? How do you feel into the pain? How do you breathe? And the yoga has certain yogic practices and movements and traditions of shifting the energy. This is a whole different topic, but that can be one area that we just look to from a spiritual perspective. Baha'u'llah talks about in the future, healing is done through the hands. And so I don't know if we've really delved into this and the power of healing through the hands. Perhaps in the future, we'll understand this even better. But in your meditative state, just sit with feelings or blocks or energetic. Sometimes you just feel stuck in that area. Just sit with it and just feel it and just notice what's happening. And just sometimes just to observe, be the observer and no judgment. This is painful. This is hurtful. What's wrong with me? Just sit with it and then apply that, put that question into the spirit. What is this feeling about? What is the best way to release this? What is the quality or spiritual attribute that needs to be enhanced? And when as you ask that question, allow the spirit to answer.
Thank you. I heard about this pranic healing and the healing. Your hand can heal yourself. That. Thank you. Yes.
Also.
And thank you to Joseph Cooper. Joseph just joined us from Liberia and has given some very nice thoughts to the group just for the enterprise we're engaged in here. Yung, your turn.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Peter.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you very much. I like your lecture, and I think is the aim of meditation at a high level is to get all the energy go through the body up to the crown, to the top of the head. You know, like when the baby was born, the top of the head was very soft. But that is all about. It means that connect a person with the universe. And where God is in the universe. So therefore, you have to break through everything like barrier and everything. Talk about figurative meaning. Then your energy level just shoot up through the crowd like a rocket. And then you get into the universe and you'll be harmonized with all the divine being, all the angels, the saint, God, and whoever let you go into their dimension. So therefore, we had to break down that meditation into many different levels and many different paths, and depend on the advancement of the person. Just like I mentioned about the boy or the girl at 8 years old that sit down for meditation, just because that person, the little person, probably already got used to the environment. And if we believe in Buddha teaching, I'm not a Buddhist, I'm a Catholic, but I believe that people have their previous life, and that probably little person, previously his life was a monk, and then when he died, he reincarnate, but then all his energy still follow him. So therefore, this life, like Dalai Lama, turn back to be like, sitting in that silence and control management and energy and halo around him. And I don't think they have so much time to analyze, like a philosopher, analyze all different things happening in the body and different level of energy and different sort of, like multi-scaling tasks. Because that is not a job of meditation to sit down and do multi-scaling analyst.
Okay,
They're
so
not a business analyst.
what is your question, you?
My question is, if the way we run, according to your explanation, that I said it at a very high level, a lot of people will drop out meditation because they just couldn't follow. The path is so difficult, and because if they don't, just like a person that work all day in the field, in the agriculture area, and if that person want to like meditate, and they sit down, they were so tired already. They have no energy left to analyze anything. So they close their eyes, like you say, maybe provide healing, right? Anxiety and release pressure. But if a person who works so much in the field, productive person,
Yes.
what energy left for them to meditate the way that for the scholar to meditate?
Yes.
The
Okay.
scholar
Good.
see it in a different way.
Good question. Now, as you read across various faiths, there's no one set form to meditation. In fact, many different faiths have different forms. The Buddhists even have walking meditations, wakeful meditations. So perhaps you can even apply the same, because I noticed when I was doing cleaning work when I was younger, I was running the same action over and over very repetitively. So like a person in the field, they could be beating the paddy, or you're repeating the same action over and over. But when you're doing that, that's where the thoughts go. It goes all over the place. So even in that state, we can choose to turn the mirror of our hearts heavenwards and ask ourselves, how can I solve or resolve this issue? How can I yield a better harvest in the field? What will help me work better, do better, serve better? We can apply questions to our spirit anywhere. Notice how many times when you're driving from point A to point B, and then suddenly you realize, how did I get home? Where were you? Where did the thoughts go between point A and point B? We went into a zone, some people call it, or we went into a state where everything was, we here physically, but you're not. You're driving, but you weren't. So many things happen, and meditation can be applied in different states. The question here is, where is the mirror of our heart pointed at throughout the day? Is it pointed towards heavenly topics? Or are we reflecting on what Colin said to me last week about that, and he upset me so much, I want to squeeze Colin because he hurt me? Where are we choosing to reflect the mirror of our heart? And wherever we choose and apply it to the higher self, asking the right questions, we unlock that faculty of the higher self. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, but the way you're saying, you talk about state.
Mhm.
The way you explain about that state, it would be already transformed. It's not meditation anymore. It's
So,
something different. It's something different action, you call.
so meditation, like I said, for many people, it has many different meanings. And for many different faiths, you meditate a different way. There's no one set form. And so perhaps what we understand traditionally is I have to sit down, close my eyes. That's one form of meditation. How about when you're sitting down, just reflecting in the ocean, just observing the ocean, focusing on the sound? Is that not also a form of meditation? Perhaps. I don't know.
But do you have a fast lane?
I
Like,
haven't. I haven't discovered the fast yet. When you do, let me know.
Well, thank you,
It can take 100 years.
So there's an interesting saying: the shortest and the longest journey is the journey from head to heart. How many of us we understand love? We understand the concept of love. We understand theoretically what it means. Yet, for that deeper understanding of connection to the divine to go from here to here, for some, it's a second. For others, a myriad of lives will never suffice for that journey to take place. So the shortest distance really to anything is from head to heart. And the quicker we can transcend that journey and overcome the ego and self and that lower self, the more purer the meditative state, the heart and the reflective state.
Thank you, Ria. Robert, your turn.
Thanks, Colin. Actually, it's interesting. When you get a group of people meditating, you can actually measure the coherence these days. Your individual coherence, the group's coherence, by sending love and gratitude out to the world and receiving it back again as well.
But they've done studies where people meditate into a petri dish, around a petri dish, and they notice the petri dish where the meditators are grow faster, heal faster. So amazing things are happening when we focus.
When people get distracted, they say one thing is to put your tongue on the roof of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to stop distraction as well. So,
yeah.
So I do a heart coherence with a doctor from Canada, and it gives us all links with what the effect on DNA is affecting, and the whole gut world is changing.
I must say we are in a stage of infancy in this field. It's exploring new worlds that we are slowly delving into.
Thank you, Robert. My question is about the observer from within that you mentioned, Riaz, the intuitive voice. So, I don't know what's mind and what's brain and what's how we're different from animals or anything, but would you say that we've got this voice which is kind of like sub-vocalizing? It's what we're just talking to ourselves in our own language, and that's going on, and that's we might even think that's it, but there's something else observing even what we're thinking about and can steer it to some extent. Is that are there two different voices, and where do they come from? Which one's the part of the body and which one's part of the spirit?
Okay. The best answer I've heard from this is from the author Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And he talks about the egoic mind or the egoic self or the lower self. And he said our goal, in his view, is to become the observer of that thought and feelings. And he uses this: when you observe yourself going negative, notice where are you? You're either in the past or you're reflecting something in the past. And when you observe that voice moving there, step out of that room and come back into that present room, and just stay in this room for a while, as long as your thoughts allow you to. And then when you notice your mind starting to catastrophize or go into doom, step out of that room when you observe that and go back into this room, and just becoming the observer that observes the step in, step out process, and just constantly choosing where our focus goes. So how do we know and discern what is that true intuitive voice from the other voices? I don't know. All I know is sometimes that voice is so loud. It says, Riyadh, do this, or Colin, do this. And you know when you do it and you take action, you see doors open. You notice things open. So probably the acid test for me is, how do you discern that intuitive voice from the vain imagining or egoic voice? The doors open quicker. Sometimes when you start something, boom, 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 everything just happens. And if it's your inner voice, boom, you just keep hitting roadblocks, and then you know, okay, that's not the way. Let me listen to that other voice when I should have listened to. Perhaps that could be a pathway.
How come nobody think about angel's voice?
Yeah, some people hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. I've had many Christians say, I heard the voice of the Holy Spirit. I say, wow, I wish I had your gift. Give me that gift to discern that voice.
Right, so we have a couple of minutes. Anyone here who would like to learn about meditation quickly instead of meditating to get the answer? We've got Riaz. Any questions which we have about meditation?
I must say, I'm just a student, taking baby steps into this field. So just learn through practice, and we all learn through practice.
Yeah. Ahmed.
How regularly do you do this practice of meditation? Do you do it at the time of your prayers, or do you do it when you have an issue, or what's the best thing to do irregular in a kind of getting the best outcome?
What I've noticed is the early mornings of the day are perhaps there's something powerful about that time of the day. Scientifically, the research shows that your body releases the chemicals, a certain chemical, and this chemical helps you go into deeper meditative states. It'll come to me, and the time is usually about 4 to 5 o'clock, or just dawn, pre-dawn. That scientifically is shown to be the best time to pray and to meditate.
I guess cortisol and dopamine. I think.
No, it's not.
Not those.
No.
You'll
come to me.
No, you're right. There is something that comes happen, but I don't remember.
The pre-dawn is probably one of the best times that I found personally. And everybody's different. Some people prefer before sleep. So I guess listen to your voice, that voice from within. And
it was a time of harmony of the dice and the light, the sun and the moon. And the angel wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyung doesn't wake me up. All right, we have a couple of questions. Yi Sing Kwek, please.
Hi, Kwek.
Yeah, thank you very much for the enlightening talk. I just want to ask you to repeat what you said early on when you said that when you focus on yesterday and tomorrow, what are the three things that you...
So and this is something I read from the Buddhist teachings. He said, if we focus on the past and we reflect on things that didn't go well, when we ruminate on the past, we go into states of depression. Yeah. In the present moment, when we're worrying about what's happening, we create stress. And anxiety is when we start to future catastrophize, when we look at doom and gloom. That's when we move into energy of anxiety.
Okay.
So
depression.
So the goal is to be in the present moment, letting go of worry, letting go of these states, just freeing ourselves of that and sitting in the present moment. Often when a depressed person, their mind wanders into the past. They're often playing old stories over and over and over. It happened 20 years ago, but they're playing it as if it's still here. And the mind cannot tell the difference. Imagine when we close our eyes, imagine we cannot tell us whether we're really there or it's just in the past or in the future. Because think of a lemon. When you think of a lemon and you squeeze that lemon and you put it into your mouth, as soon as you focus on that lemon and imagining tasting it, what happens? Your mouth actually secretes saliva. So thoughts are the same way. When we ruminate about unpleasant things of the past, the body shifts its chemical state. So what we focus on, Abdu'l-Baha says, creates our reality. So when a thought of war comes, oppose it by a stronger thought of peace. The thought of hatred must be destroyed by a more powerful thought of love. So really shifting your awareness, where does it go? Changing it, bringing it back to the present moment, focusing on and choosing to turn our hearts to our higher self. Because every time when we stop choosing, what happens? That protective mind, that body that wants to keep us safe, that flight, fight, freeze mechanism just turns on automatically.
But isn't that we need to think of the future as we plan our activities as well?
Of course. So how does Eckhart Tolle describe it? He says, when you need to plan for the future, you step into the future room, you plan what you need to do, and then you step back into the present moment. I'm practicing, not easy to practice. You're observing where you are every time, stepping in, creating, coming back. It's very interesting when you see him, when you see Eckhart Tolle speak. You notice your energy level starts to become very calm straight away. It's almost as if he has this very calming, energetic feel to him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Vasantha, I think you will be our last question.
Thank you very much. But I just want a quick question about the mindfulness and meditation. Are they both the same? Or?
I think that mindfulness is the English word for, notice the word mindfulness. Whereas the Buddhist teaching says mind emptiness. So I think what both language, we're calling apple instead of apple, tomato, what they're both saying is we want to be in a space where we're so still in the present moment. My understanding.
Thank you.
All right. Look, I think we had a wonderful session tonight. And as Usha says, you have a good, calm voice for this subject, Ria's perfect.
Thank you.
Couldn't have said it better. And no, that was excellent. A very lovely addition to our collection of learning on a topic which is relevant to everyone. Everyone needs meditation or to learn meditation. I've got to go and meditate.